Hey, it's me, WWI, and today I'm going to be recreating World War II in Minecraft in only 1 week. So the first thing I wanted to do is make guns. And so I did some research, and I found that the British rifle was the Lee Enfield. Now, quick disclaimer before I start talking about this. This is not very historically accurate. I was going to base the battle off of the Battle of the Somme, but then I just decided not to. So it's going to be a battle against the British versus the Germans, and that's about it. The British had the Lee Enfield, and there were a few different models, but I didn't really care about that. So I went and I started modeling, and then, that was good. I animated it. The animations they're okay, but the texture was pants. It was utter garbage. I don't know if I'll have a recreation. I don't have the same texture, but I might be able to make a recreation of it real quick, so you might be able to see that on screen right here. Now, why didn't I just go and use I don't know, a Flams mod add-on or something like that, or someone else's mod? And I probably could have done that. I just didn't bother looking, so I assumed that nobody had made World War I add-ons, even though I'm sure they're out there. But I was going to make my own guns, like my own gun mod, and I was like, I'm just not going to do that. So here's Vic's Point Blank. It's a relatively new gun mod that is made by the same guy who made Vic's Modern Warfare, which I showed on my channel before. But this mod really focuses on, making your own guns, and so it's actually really simple. You just need to copy paste some files, change some names, and then switch the numbers for how much damage you want the guns to do and stuff. It really doesn't take that long, but it did take me a long time to figure out why my gun wasn't being added, and it was simply because I had the arms not the right dimensions and stuff, so I had to change that, and then I had to make the entire gun bigger, which should be pretty easy, but it's not, because you have to go into every single square, make it bigger, and then move it back to its proper position. So it doesn't look as good as it originally did, but it works, and I had some issues with the animations, but then I had to change the names of the animations, and it all worked out in the end. So here's probably the finished product on screen, and this took me 2 days, but we'll just count this as day 1, because we'll just do it like that, alright? But trust me, it did take me 7 days to do this. I just did it in a weird order, so I'm going to do it in an order that makes more sense, alright? But trust me, I did do things in the 7 days that I had allocated for this project. Anyways, the next thing I was going to make is a Gewehr 98. I might be saying that wrong, but it's a German gun, basically the same as a Lee Enfield, except it is clip fed rather than magazine fed. That's really the only difference. It's not, but it's enough. So I went and I modeled that, and then I decided, how about instead of making my own bad texture, I just took textures from Minecraft and put it on. So that's what I did, and it doesn't look great still, but at least it's better. And I went and did the same thing with the Lee Enfield, which is, you probably saw that in the thing just then. And so the Gewehr, I'm going to keep calling it that, has 5 shots, whereas the Lee Enfield has 10, so the Gewehr does a little bit more damage, and I think reloads faster and shoots slower. So there's that. It's a little bit of balancing, but I actually made them do way too much damage, so you're going to one-shot anyone either way. The iron sights are also not that great, but it's kind of hard to set up the iron sights, so they're good enough. You can figure out where you're shooting. So that ends up day 2. It was probably about halfway through day 3 when I finished both of the guns, but that doesn't count. So then I wanted to start working on artillery, because artillery was a pretty big piece of World War I, and so I was going to make, I'll tell you how I did it. So I started with an entity, and it's just an invisible player model, and then they fall, and they're making particles, smoke particles, so it's really cool looking, and then they hit the ground, they make an explosion. Pretty simple stuff, and so I had some fun just swinging them in the air, and watching them hit the ground. It took a little bit of dialing in the explosion to get it the right size, because sometimes it would explode, but then it wouldn't get killed by the explosion, or it would be in the process of dying, so it hit the ground again. So at one point I had it not damage blocks, but then I decided that it would make more sense to damage blocks, so I just made it a small explosion, and that worked out just fine. Then I made a flare. In real life there's flare guns, but I didn't want to have to make a flare gun, so I just made it a flare. It close it off. And so it took a little bit of tweaking, but I made actually a really nice flare model that uses a similar idea to the TNT texture, although it's not a direct copy like the gun models are. But you place it on the ground, place it on the ground, turns into an entity. There's some fire particles, which are pretty cool, and then after a couple of seconds it spawns using some actually kind of complicated math in a, I think it's 14 by 14 block radius, 4 or 5 artillery shells, I guess. And it's a little bit unrealistic because it just kind of go from space. It's kind of more like an orbital strike rather than an artillery thing, but that's fine. I didn't really know how to make them curve in, like how artillery does. So yeah, there's that. And then I changed the width of the radius, and then the time for how, and all that good stuff, just tweaking things. And then my brother recommended that I make it a throwable instead of a placeable, so then you can get it further. And then I thought, what, that makes sense. So you don't have to jump inside the other team's, or the other side's trench, and then set the flare down. So you can just chuck it into their trench. You really still can't, because the trenches are too far apart, but it's a lot easier. Anyways, so that was actually really complicated to do, because MCreator has updated how they make ranged weapons. So in short, I had to make it so it's constantly shooting, and then that fixed all of my issues, and then I had to give it an animation thing. But the main thing that, yeah, it was the, like the use time, the animation, and making it always shoot, I think were the things I had to do. And then I wanted to make mustard gas, so that was like the end of day 4 or whatever it was. Then I wanted to make a mustard gas one, so I just recolored the flare to be yellow, which also doesn't really make sense and is not historically accurate, but it's, you know, for the sake of gameplay, it makes sense. And it took me quite a while to figure out, so it's the same thing as the artillery, except instead of exploding, I was going to use something called an area effect cloud, which is like, you know, like a lingering potion basically. But you can make it with commands, you can change like the size, you know, the duration, all that good stuff. And I was just really struggling to figure out how to make it work. Only to find that, so I used the MC Stacker, and that's for 1.21, and I don't actually know how to make, like, lower the version on MC Stacker, which is kind of disappointing sometimes. But I had to find a different website that let you do it on, like, on a lower version. So I just changed it to 1.20, and then it worked. After some tweaking, I had to figure out what all the different things did, and then, so it's still not perfect, but it's good enough, and it poisons you for a few seconds, which also isn't really realistic to how mustard gas works, but, you know, it's close enough and it gets the point across, which is kind of the motto of this whole video. It's not realistic, but it's good enough and gets the point across, so, yeah, and then it was kind of tedious to have to, like, switch everything, because I had to recreate all of the artillery things, all the code for the artillery things, the flare projectile, all the code for those, which doesn't seem like a lot when I say it like that, but it did take me a while. There's some things that weren't working correctly, because there's one thing where it just keep spawning artillery for some reason, like I'd be in the test world, I go somewhere else, I come back, there's still artillery falling, so I don't know what that was all about, but I don't think it does that anymore, so I'm not sure how I fixed that, but I did. And also, if you save and quit the world while you have an artillery strike down, it won't despawn, but it also won't keep spawning artillery, so you'll just have an invincible flare on the ground, but don't tell anyone that. So, yeah, those are the artillery, and the mustard gas is a bit more accurate because it's just one thing, but it still has a little bit of variation to where it goes, so a lot of times you won't actually hit people in the trench, so it's really not that useful. And then this was, I think I made this before I made the mustard gas, so this is a little bit, this is kind of all over the place, but I did it in a 7-day period, so it still counts as making it in 7 days. But I wanted to make sandbags, so I actually made a pretty decent sandbag model. I used smooth sandstone texture, I think it's the top of the sandstone block, which I think is the same as smooth sandstone. Anyways, I used that, and it actually looks pretty good. And it's just kind of it's just a block, it doesn't really do anything. I think it has pretty high explosion resistance, but I just use it for detailing. Something else I use pretty much for detailing is barbed wire, and the texture I made in like 5 seconds, and it doesn't look that bad. I just like made some swirlies. I used the M Creator texture maker, but I just made a black circle, added some like little like spiky stuff to it, and then I used the recoloring to make it a bit lighter, and then I added noise to it, and it just was fine. I ended up like tweaking the noise, so it's a little bit more noisy than it was originally, and a little bit darker I think, or maybe lighter, I don't remember. I made it like a cross model, like the cobweb is, and then I made it so when it slows you down, and then when an entity collides with it, it damages them. It doesn't do much damage, but it's, you know, it's stuff out that counts. And then it will also slow you down as well. I forgot to make it so you can like slow your jump, it's just kind of weird how you can move through it if you're jumping, but that's fine. And so then I was like, alright, cool, so let's go make the world. So I made the map, and it was way too big, and so I scrapped that one and I made a new one. I just used World Painter, and I made like a little, it's a really small square, rectangle I guess. I made a little hill, and some hills on the sides, and made it a bunch of dirt and like soul sand and stuff to be like, it's like all muddy, you know? So then I loaded it into Minecraft, and the majority of this time was spent with me digging trenches and building stuff, which is really quite fun. I don't usually build a whole lot in Minecraft, but when I do, it's really fun, and I forget how much I like doing. So I might end up, I probably won't do any more building in a while, but that's besides the point. So I started with this little town, because some of my favorite, I don't know if I want to say like my favorite things from World War I, but like battles where there's like towns, so like you have like the rubble of the town, I think that's kind of cool. So I made this little town, it's a really small town. There's like this tower, which again, for historical accuracy, that would have been completely obliterated. That would have been like the one thing that they'd hit out of all the buildings in the town, but maybe they missed or something. The top of it's like kind of blown off, so maybe it wasn't much taller originally. But anyways, I made a couple of like completely destroyed houses. There's a barn, and then there's a tower, and a well as well. So then I just kind of went around, added, let's see, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's like 5 or 6 trenches, and I'm actually I might jump in live to show you around the specific places. You know what, let's go do that right now. Alright, so here we are in our lovely World War I battlefield. So I'll start up here. Here's the town I was mentioning. I added some like German flags, and I didn't have enough time to add any more flags, so there's just some flags over here. So there's like some little trees here and there. Here's like the buildings. There's actually 3 buildings, I guess, and then the barn here. Yeah, good stuff. A little bit of destruction here and there. And this whole grass area over here was really tedious to fill in. Alright, let me go on a tangent. I did this towards the end. This whole area was like brown, like, you know, all this like coarse dirt and potsoil. But I didn't like that. It didn't really make sense. So, by the way, this biome is Soul Sand Valley that's always being, or no, Basalt Delta that's always being set to thundering. So it kind of looks like it's like kind of like snow, you know, or something like that. That's kind of what I was going for. So this screen doesn't really make sense if it's snowing, but that's okay. It's also like dark and overcast, which is, you know, like good atmosphere. But I used World Edit, sorry, to fill this whole area in with grass. And I'm using a brush, and then, you know, over here and over there and all the way over there. But then you might be able to use World Edit to add grass, but I didn't know how, so I just used bone meal. And luckily, because it's another biome or whatever, it didn't spawn any flowers, so that was nice. But then I had to go through all here, added tons and tons of grass, like on spectator mode, so I can move a bit faster here. Then over here, I cut out all the tall grass somewhere around here. Yeah, so this is all short grass here. You know, kind of making this area feel a little bit less overgrown, sort of, and then this here is a bit more overgrown. This little, like, there's some roads that go out of the city, so there's like this one here that leads out yonder in that direction. There's one that goes down here, and then there's that house which made towards the end as well. That kind of just like curves around here. It's mostly been like destroyed from like artillery and whatnot. Anyways, let's see. I think I started with this trench here. So this is like one of the main German trenches here. And so we'll just go in. Here's like a machine gun encampment. I didn't end up making machine guns. I was going to make like a Lewis gun and like that one German machine gun, but I just didn't have the time to. So like for now we can just substitute with one of the point blank machine guns, you know, like a minigun or whatever. That is historically accurate, or it's not historically accurate, but it gets the point across, you know. So yeah, there's that. I had these little like bridges across, which on a couple of like the reference images I looked at, they had these. I might have used them too much, but that's okay. Here's the barbed wire. I added a lot of barbed wire everywhere, but you can kind of see like you move slowly, but you can also like jump through it. It's kind of strange like that. This is the last thing I made, so I'm not going to show you that quite yet. But all the trenches are pretty much the same. They're just like low and like that. There's this like small one here, which kind of goes underground right there. I added these like trees. There's no trees, and I added trees, and now it looks like nice and populated. In some of the images I looked at, there was like trees here and there. And then some of the trenches, I tried to make it like this one here can be used by both sides. So like there's a ladder to get out here, and there's also a ladder to get out here. There's a machine gun encampment facing this way. I don't know if there's any facing the other direction, but you know, it's the thought that counts. Here's like a flooded trench, because trenches did flood, I'm pretty sure. So this area is kind of like watered up, you know, probably like from artillery shells or whatever, and then this area's all like rained or whatever. So now there's this muddy area. This here, I was gonna try to get some people to play with me, but I don't have enough people to ask to play with me, and then I also would want to set up a server and, you know, all that stuff. But like here's look at, you already know the guns, but whoa, that's a new one. But like, yeah, you go through here, and then like all the British are like trying to struggle through there. This would be a really big strong point for the Germans. They got barbed wire all up this hill, and barbed wire is really hard to get through when it's like on like a slope here like that. It's really easy to get caught on there. There's this little like bunker. I like making these little bunkers here and there. This one is like kind of protecting this area. This would be like the best way for the British to get around, is like to go around this way. In theory, you know. Back here, oh yeah, this trench is a really long trench. It goes all the way up this hill, through here. I'm just kind of showing you around. There's this little inside area. This would have been filled with like ammo and stuff, but I didn't get around to doing that. We go around here. This is part of the path. Yeah, there's like little like fences right on the edge, so that kind of went over the trench there. Another machine gun encampment to defend this area. Which way is this? Would this be? I don't know. So there's that. Here's like this is another thing that I did towards the end, but it's like I added wither roses just because they fit the theme. Again, not historically accurate, but maybe it was like, I don't know, like some kind of disease or something. That doesn't make any sense, but you know, maybe. Here's another house. It's kind of like a farmer's house. So I made like like a different area over here with like some wither roses and like a patch of popsicle there. This would be like as you're going from this trench over to this trench, or the other way around. You could, you know, hide in this building for a little bit. I already showed you that trench. Let's look at this trench here. This would be like the British's most enforced trench. Oh yeah, I don't think this is strictly accurate either, but I think like this little sniper nest I thought would be really cool. So there's a couple. There's one over there, one over there. There's like all these destroyed trees. It's something that I took some creative liberty with. Here's one with like some guns and ammo. I didn't make any custom ammo, so it's just creative ammo. But it's really cool to like walk through these. Sometimes you get caught on the ladders and like you'll start walking up and you don't want to, but you know, it's what it is. I guess the sun's coming up. I don't know. I guess it's turning nighttime. That's hard to tell what the time is with all the constant thunder. This is like a really like kind of fortified little machine gun nest area. Don't do that because it ruins the immersion, but you can do that if you want to. Here's this bunker area. I like making underground bunkers. I had a bunch of like sandbags here and there. Here's like another sort of like area where you can like map out the place or something like that. There's no like barracks or anything, so I guess you have to sleep in the trench, which might be more historically accurate than I think it is. It's turning dark. How bright is my brightness? I think I have my brightness. Yeah, let's do this so you can like, easily see. There we go. Kind of ruins the atmosphere, but you know. Here's probably like, I forgot to mention there's like artillery cannons back there with a bunch of sandbags around them. Yeah. Here's like the like Germans in this scenario. The Germans would be like defending this area, and like the British would be attacking. So that's why they have like all the best positions. But you got like some pillboxes around here. I don't actually know if pillboxes were in World War I or not, but it seemed cool, so I did it. There's no like some actually like blockades around here. I have sandbags in them, and these things which again don't have anything, but you can snipe through there. You know, that's pretty cool. This one is also pretty good. This one here is kind of useless because you're just kind of looking at the ground, you know, like that. But it might be kind of helpful. Up here, so there's a like stables area. You can go up here, and there's a couple of horses. Karl and Hans. It's just popular German names from around the time, so just name them that. This is a very similar build to the barn up there, so it's potentially was here before the Germans came in, and maybe they just like copied the barn design from out there. I don't know. Here's like another kind of like fortified sort of area, like how the British have back over there. The Germans don't have a ton of underground areas around here, but they're pretty fortified as well. Here's like this. I kind of did like this kind of like thingy that goes back like this. Here's like some big old artillery cannons back here. I don't know how like if they would be this close to the base or if they'd be this close to each other. If they'd be like one there, one there, and one there. Or I don't know how they do it. I'm not an artilleryologist, but it gets the point across. Here's this little like extra trench that goes around here. This part is kind of fun. A little like kind of like bunkered up area with like a machine gun cannon. Oh look, lightning quick. That doesn't happen on all of the sandbags, trust me. I think that's just about it. Honestly. Yeah, there's like a trench over here that kind of connects over here, and then here's what I was talking about with like climbing up the ladder in an accident. It kind of like disperses and kind of goes back into this trench, so it's like I don't know, maybe like two different trenches, maybe just one trench. But either way, you know, it's a cool little scenario. So yeah, that's the map, I guess. I don't think there's really anything else to show you. But this is really fun. Oh yeah, here's another little like area here, like a trap kind of area. If anyone tries to like go around this side, there's like a bunch of barbed wire and like mud and water and stuff. Is this big whole kind of like it's not a pond, but you know, it's like a big puzzle. Back to the other me. So that's basically it. I worked on the map while I was doing the artillery stuff, and through the end. It was I think I already said this before, but building is quite fun. Especially when it's kind of like simple building. Like then, like you know, building the trenches is all basically the same. As I said, I was gonna try to get like you know, do like a big cool like battle thing, like a little montage at the end or whatever. But I don't really know enough people to do that. I don't have to know if people who have Minecraft or have the ability to do mods or have the same schedule. So it'd be a whole big thing. And again, I don't want to make a server. So the best you'll get is like being able to download the map. Yeah. So I think. I'm going to talk about things that I didn't have time to do that I wanted to do real quick before I close out here. I think I mentioned I wanted to do machine guns. I want to do like the Maxim gun or like something like that, where it's like mounted. I don't know how to do that. Tanks would have been cool, but it wasn't something I was planning on doing because again I don't really know how to do that. I can make like moving vehicles, but I don't know how to make them shoot. So there is that. And another thing I wanted to do is make armor, or at the very least hats or helmets, I guess would be more accurate. For the different troops, which wouldn't have taken very long, so like a quick little model. And then grenades probably would have been another good thing to add. As well as potentially like sidearms, but that might be getting a lot of stuff at that point. Does that make any sense? I don't know. Maybe it does. But anyways, I had a lot of fun making this video, and I hope you had a lot of fun watching this video. Now, I made a poll on my community tab. If you're still here, that's the end of like the World War I stuff. But if you like want to like subscribe to me or whatever, do that. And just listen to the rest of this part if you care. But I put a little post on my community tab because I don't really know what I want to do with my channel at the moment. I was in the middle of making this video and I posted that. But I have gotten no feedback, so I think I'm going to go with my current or my original plan, which is going to be going back to modding stuff, because the devlogs are, they have not been doing well in like terms of views and engagement, and I have not been really enjoying doing them. I've been kind of enjoying doing prototype stuff, but like editing and like recording and stuff, I've been getting just super lazy and just wanting to get it over with. And also the stuff I've been doing in prototype is not very interesting. It's all the same stuff now, just like working on levels and things like that. So I'm gonna stop. I will probably stop. I don't think I'll finish prototype, or like, you know, upload it anywhere. Although I do have a few game ideas that I might end up like making eventually. I always think it'd be fun to like make a game dev studio with like some people that I know, but I don't know anyone who can do game development stuff except for me. So Yeah, they'd have to learn probably, but that's for a whole nother thing. If you're watching this far, thanks, and comment down below if you'd like me to see, or if you'd like to see me make some videos of the projects that I haven't finished, like Prototype. There's a mod called Goria, another mod called The Mather. There's just a handful of things that I have like some concept art and like ideas for that will never be finished for various reasons. So if you'd like to hear me talk about that, maybe kind of make a similar format to like this video. I don't know what this video format's going to be. I haven't edited yet. So we'll see if this is going to be a really good video or a really bad video. But anyway, I'm just rambling on at this point. It's just something that I tend to do a lot. So I'm going to end the video here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you maybe next week, maybe a couple weeks. I don't really know.